Hello, welcome on into episode 107 of the ESO Top 5 Battles. If you have a clip that you want to send in for the top 5, you can send it to kristofereso@hotmail.com. Starting us off today, we have got RICCI ESO. He is playing an Oaken Soul Dragon Knight build. Now, he's actually Emperor on this thing, and yeah, Oaken Soul plus Emp equals tons of kills. He throws down the Elemental Rage, follows it up with the Caltrops, Dark Convergence pulls everybody on the spot, and then a massive explosion from Vicious Death, and I'm guessing some Occult Overload in there. So many players going down, and RICCI ends up peeling back down to the bottom, I think to try to lure more players to follow him. Again, he's got another ultimate, the Caltrops, into the AoE blast, so many players going down, and then RICCI again going back down to the bottom, poking some of the players on siege there, just doing everything he can to lure people back up top. Another Elemental Rage. Oh my god, so many red players dying. They're desperately rezzing. They don't know what's going on. RICCI's just trying to lure as many players up to the top as he can, and I love it. He's being very patient. He's just looking for the opportunity to get a good bomb. And unfortunately there, he didn't get the bomb that he needed. The Dark Convergence didn't proc in time, but the second Caltrop AoE did pull a few in. RICCI managed to still get a couple kills, even when he didn't get the bomb nice and clean. And he just goes back down to the bottom here, very low on stamina. He's doing a lot of blocking and a lot of sprinting, and I love it. He's just poking the players, trying so hard to just lure them to the top. And then he gets pulled in by an enemy Dark Convergence there. He ends up dropping the Elemental Rage right at his feet. And then there's a big explosion, and more players end up going down to the Vicious Death there. And RICCI's almost got the next ultimate up. There we go, it's ready. He drops the Elemental Rage. There's the Dark Convergence pulling players in. So many red players going down again. And they just keep rezzing each other. RICCI is doing so much damage here. He's killing so many players. But these red are, well, there's a lot of them, and they're constantly picking each other up. He drops another Elemental Rage. There's a great pull from the Dark Convergence. Another big explosion. It looks like a friendly player in RICCI's group actually managed to sneak into the top here. That's going to help a lot, trying to keep these bodies down. And again, RICCI's just looking for a good opportunity to drop the bomb. There's another Elemental Rage. And he ends up not getting the pull in time there, but the friendly player coming in clutch with the Necromancer ult, and down goes a few more red players on the stack there. And look, he's got so many bodies on the ground. There's still at least 20 or 30 red that are still alive. He drops another Elemental Rage. There's Dark Convergence with the pull, and RICCI himself ends up getting pulled, so he gets a pretty not so clean combo, and he manages to still kill a couple players with it. But the red players are just staying on his tail now. He's got everybody's attention. It's going to be harder and harder to get these bombs off. And there's the next Elemental Rage. The Caltrops, another big explosion. A few more red going down on the stack there. And finally, the red managed to bring RICCI down. What a fantastic Emp clip, so many kills. Now moving on to the next fight here, we've got BubyTV playing some Magicka Nightblade. Love to see it. And he's hanging out inside a resource here and trying to lure the players that are flipping it inside. One player comes in, Bubby gets great damage into him. Beautiful connection with the Merciless Resolve on the roll there, and he finishes off the enemy players. He tries to get to safety, and Bubby, very mobile on the Magblade, managing to get inside really quickly, taking quite a bit of damage, but just getting those big fat heals with the Nightblade spammable. Gets up to the top, the enemy Templar comes around the corner. I love that Bubby's using Sap Essence. Not only is that going to give the major spell damage and brutality buff, but it actually has a pretty decent amount of healing power, and you see sometimes when there's a lot of players on him, Bubby will go for the Sap Essence just to pull in health from all the enemy players, and they start chasing him around more and more here. Bubby with a drop down to the bottom there, throws another heal down. There's the Sap Essence. He, again, just trying to find an opening to hit these guys, finds the one Templar overextending a little bit, and I think that might have been a little bit of a missed jump. Bubby kind of bumped off the edge and slid off there, and the Templar ends up following him down. Bubby's now got this guy alone. I love that he throws down the AoE Stealth Detect as well. He's actually running the morph that gives him major protection, so it gives him a little bit more durability when he throws it down. And now he's got 3 enemy Templars jabbing away. Beautiful connection on the Meteor into the Merciless Resolve. One of the Templars dropped from almost full health there. and now more blue coming to converge on Bubby here, and he's going to have to do his best to get out of there, and lots of really quick cancels on the heal. He keeps backing up. I think he's trying to go for a little bit better terrain. This is really open here, so it's not the best place to take a fight. It looks like the blue have split up a little bit from the chase, though. Bubby turns around. Excellent combo on that player. The ultimate, the merciless resolve, really big crits as well. That guy gets killed very quickly. And now Bubby charges into the front end of the group here. Really big damage on the enemy Sork. Bubby is trying to put in the finishing blow, but too much pressure from the enemy players here. He's doing a great job dodging those critical attacks, though. And Bubby just retreats to a little bit better terrain. Just poking the blue, trying to lure a few more out of position. This enemy Sork again caught overextending. Bubby finishes him off with the Sap Essence, anticipating the dodge roll in response when he's low HP. I really, really like that. I've never really used Sap myself, so I love to see how he's using it in this fight. And unfortunately, he's unable to stop that res from happening. He's taking a lot of pressure here too, just throwing down those big Nightblade heals, managing to get himself out of there. And the blue players are being pretty shy here. They're not charging into this location. Bubby has a really good piece of terrain with that rock. But as long as they're not on top of him, he does have a bit of a safe spot to retreat to. I like how he just goes back behind the rock and holds still for a moment. I know he was hitting the record button there, and Bubby just charges back out again. He jumps on top of the enemy Templars. All the jabs coming down, lots of AoE, and he retreats back to his rock here. This time, the enemy Templars follow him, and Bubby goes for the Sap Essence. There's the Meteor. He throws down the Merciless Resolve as well as Sap Essence as he rolls out of there, so close to bringing one of the Templars down. And the rest of the players charging onto his location here. They've got the healing ult in the back. There's a lot of Templars in this enemy group, and Bubby just getting to a nice little bit of line of sight using the hill here. The one enemy player sliding off the edge. Bubby sees him as split from the rest of the group. When he does that, it looks like this guy's actually trying to get out of there. Bubby chases him a little bit and doesn't manage to get the damage to kill him, but the rest of the players chase him, so Bubby is forced to get back behind this rock here, and it looks like half the group actually split off to the left following the other Sork there, and Bubby's got two players here, a third player coming in as well. And, ooh, nasty Dawnbreaker. He manages to roll back behind the player that Dawnbreakered him and gets the heals as he comes around the corner. Lots of pressure coming in from this Dragon Knight, though. He's throwing a lot of dots and consistent gap closer pressure on him. And Bubby's doing his best to stay alive here. Very low resources. Manages to catch this Sork sleeping a little bit. Hits him with the Sap Essence to finish him off. This guy right away attempting the res. And I love it. Bubby gets that bash real quickly, right away capitalizing on that offensive pressure, and he brings that guy down. And now he's in a war against this Templar. The Templar's throwing the jabs down, a huge crit on the Merciless Resolve. Really awesome stuff. Now, moving on to the next fight, we have got VexxPK, and he is playing another Oakensoul Dragon Knight build. Now, I know that Oakensoul is a little bit of a controversial item in this game, but this clip is pretty crazy, so I definitely wanted to share it with you guys. This is what it looks like when you take one of the best items in the game and you give it to one of the best players in the game as well. So he is hanging out at Bruma here, and he finds himself getting attacked by quite a few yellow. Vex managing to tank that out, just throwing a lot of heals down with the Dragon Blood as well as Vigor. And then he turns around and starts doing some offensive pressure here. He gets huge damage into that first player, almost killing him just outright by dotting him up. And there's the stun from stealth as Vex just quickly breaks it, turns around, and then he keeps throwing down the breath to try to put some damage in. There's the whip to finish that guy off, and Vex just holding block, going into the heal, and then popping the Vigor, and then right away turning around and hitting the next player. So much damage coming out of his whip. The enemy player's dumping ultimates on him and everything. Vex able to just tank it out big time thanks to his corrosive ultimate as well. And there he picks up another kill on that whip cancel. And it looks like just two yellow players left on the location here. Vex just goes right into this enemy Sork, gets him with a lot of dot damage, hits him with the whip. The Sork doesn't really do that much to respond to it, so Vex takes him down really quick. Enemy Nightblade jumps in on top of Vex. Vex just turns around, dots him up, and then catches him with a whip in between the rolls. Big 10k crit on that. The Nightblade ends up going down. And Vex has got his next corrosive armor ready. He pops it, able to absorb so much damage with the corrosive up. He just pops a vigor. That's going to let him get pretty close to back to full health. These guys actually putting on a bit of pressure even through the corrosive. Another friendly player comes charging in to help Vex. Unfortunately, he takes a lot of damage. It looks like he's a Nightblade, and he ended up shading out of there. And Vex is left alone on the flag here again. And the yellow player's just all over him. You know, this fight reminds me so much of an old school Magicka Dragon Knight, where they could just be so powerful and even in open field tank so much damage. And this corrosive ultimate is just doing so much work. Vex doing a great job getting good combos on these guys. Huge damage from that Nightblade. Vex managing to respond really quickly, going into the burst heal, and there's the corrosive armor. These yellow players are in trouble now. Vex charging towards the enemy Nightblade. Definitely the more dangerous target of the bunch here, being able to put out that big burst. And that's the end of his ultimate. He wasn't able to pick up the kill there, but Vex is going to keep the pressure on. The enemy players just throwing tons of AoE. There's another Ballista ult coming in, but Vex manages to get to the corrosive armor in time. So much damage. 100% armor pierce is definitely not something to take lightly, and Vex just bringing down 3 players so quickly. These yellow players are respawning and running back, but I don't know how much longer they're going to do this. Vex is just putting so much damage into them. This guy here trying to get that res off. Vex just throws down the breath into the light attack whip, the bash. That guy going down to the combo. And he takes a nasty Dawnbreaker there. Vex just eats the incoming Soul Assault, pops the corrosive armor, and then he right away goes to the back and just drops that guy from full health while he's trying to res in that bash. He gets another bash on this guy into the whip, the second whip finishing him off. And at this point, these yellow are just trying to res their dead. And Vex pops another corrosive armor. This is actually where the clip ends, so I'm going to assume that the last 2 guys ended up running off. But wow, what a crazy hole. Just very reminiscent of that old school Dragon Knight. And moving on to the next clip, we have got GodspawnBaca. He's playing a Stamina Sorcerer down in the Imperial City. And as you guys can see, he's picked up a couple kills just as he's entering here. More yellow players just kind of converging on his tail. But Godspawn is on a Stamina Sorcerer, the fastest class in Cyrodiil. And if he wants to get away, these yellow are going to have a tough time keeping up with him. There's a huge Meteor combo. Godspawn using the streak to get a nice stun on everybody, picking up the kill, and then there's that speed, just a couple quick streaks, and he's just gone. The enemy players chasing him, and Godspawn already just rebuffed, comes back around the corner, goes for the crushing weapon, trying to get a nice combo there. Again, I believe he picked up the kill. He got some Telvar stones, but he didn't get any AP. The one player was very low hit points there, and Godspawn again breaks some distance, resets those buffs, and the yellow players keep chasing him down. Godspawn throws down a nice streak there and then gets right on top of this enemy Dragon Knight, goes for the finish with the execute. The enemy DK, I think, blocking a majority of those attacks. Godspawn unable to get the kill, and he just breaks some distance, resets the buffs, a couple dark deals, and these enemy players have not fully healed up either. There's a huge Meteor coming down. 2 players go down to the Meteor. This guy very low on hit points as well. Godspawn just quickly resetting his buffs and then goes for the Elemental Weapon. There's a nice heavy attack into the streak, and then he goes for the Whirling Blade. 1 enemy player going down, and it's him and the last enemy player, and he ended up speeding up the clip here. It looks like that guy is definitely on the tanky side, so Godspawn, after trying to take him down with that Meteor combo, decides, all right, we are just gonna leave this guy alone for now, and he heads back towards the entrance to the AD side of the sewers here. And Godspawn finds 6 more AD players, and it looks like they're killing some mobs. He throws down the curse, goes for the streak through everybody. The curse goes off, the Whirling Blades, and 2 yellow players going down like that. Godspawn very quickly peeling out of there with streak, and then resets his buffs and just charging right back in. A couple of the yellow actually ended up chasing him there. That's going to be beneficial because he's splitting the group up a lot just with his sporadic movement, and he takes a bit of damage from these guys right away, streaking out to a better location. He's going to pump Dark Deal a little bit here, get some of that stam back, and then Godspawn starts heading back towards the bodies here. It looks like yellow is going to manage to get that res off, but there's the curse coming in, the Meteor, and the streak for the AoE stun. Again, not only does Godspawn get the kill on the res player, but he takes down the reser as well. And he heads back towards the entrance of the yellow here and just keeps going deeper into it, trying to see how many yellow he can find. And as he runs around a little bit here, he ends up finding himself getting a little bit surrounded by the yellow. But again, using that speed from the Stamsork, he's just going to peel back a bit and reposition himself into a spot where he can get the drop on these guys. Comes back around the corner, keeping those buffs up. The yellow players just kind of chasing him there. Godspawn being very patient, and there is the elemental weapon. He tries to land it. There we see a huge connection, the curse into the meteor, and there is the whirling blade as well. Looked like 2 or 3 players going down on the stack. Godspawn just keeps pushing out there. Big damage into these guys. One of them ends up getting killed. He streaks back on top of the enemy Dragon Knight, trying to keep the pressure on him. The meteor comes down on the DK, and there is the whirling blade to finish him off. 2 yellow players left on the inside here. Godspawn just charges through them. The curse putting big damage into that first one, and that nasty meteor combo. Godspawn bringing him down. And the last yellow player here unable to escape as well. And that fight actually goes on for quite a bit more time. If you guys want to see the whole clip, there's a link to Godspawn's channel down below for you. And finally, for the last fight, we have got Andeh. And he said it's fine if I call him Andy. He's playing some Stamina Dragon Knight. And this is a pretty interesting build. It's very fast on its feet. I haven't seen a StamBK that moves quite at the speed of this one, but either way, he's in this keep here, and the enemy players just broke the door, and Andy's going to do his best to defend it. I love how he just sprints through the back end of the group, throwing down some AoE pressure and dotting everybody up, getting them with the debuff. The enemy players start following him into the side of the castle here, and Andeh just using that speed to break some distance. The enemy players turn around, start hitting the guards. Huge combo there. He dots that player up and then hits him with a 13k whip crit, bringing that guy down. Jumping on top of the poor level 35, hitting him with the ultimate into the whip. He goes down as well, and the AoE splash from the ultimate allowing Andy to pick up a kill on the other player there. And this guy right away trying to pick up the body. Andy's just going to get behind him, hit him with the dot, and then hit him with the bash to stun him afterwards. Big damage on that enemy player. The Nightblade getting into stealth, trying to escape. And he's got his ultimate ready. He leaps on top, goes for the execute. That player goes down. The player that just got rezzed, hit with a nasty execute as well. He goes down. And Andy just resetting his buffs real quickly, charging to the target in the back, finding this guy very squishy. Andy managing to put really good damage into him and just managing to get that kill before Dark Convergence pulls him in. Andy goes back around the corner, resetting those buffs, and this speed, man, the huge gap close there with Leap as well. Andy just jumping on targets all over the battlefield here, and the enemy players still trying to pick up the dead bodies. There's a really nice snappy bash cancel there. Andy just rotating around these guys, throwing down the AoE pressure with the breath, and the blue still dedicated to getting those reses off. He leaps on this guy that's kind of off to the side there. A light attack into the whip, nice damage. He goes down, and Andy just gets back behind the castle wall there. He holds still for a moment. I want to say he was hitting that record button or clip that button, and the blue players managing to pick up almost everybody now. Big damage on that guy there. Andy actually absorbing 2 meteors from those guys, but he's able to out-heal it with those powerful DK heals, and then he gets a bit of damage into the player in the front, but he's taking a lot of pressure now. These guys are paying attention to him. He's the primary target because a lot of the guards are dead too. Beautiful counter combo as that player comes around the corner with jabs, and he gets him with a nice whip and then leaps on top of the next player to hit him with the stun. The enemy player goes right away into his Storm ultimate, which is going to give him protection, and Andy is unable to capitalize on that kill. And look at this, they already picked up the guy that Andy killed. He very quickly hits him with a whip. That was the poor level 35 again. He ends up going down. Andy hits this guy with a nice leap. Seeing this guy going for the res, Andy doesn't stick to finishing off that kill there, instead killing the player that went for the res, and that Temple Archer not using any heals. Oh man, Andy able to very quickly finish him off, and it looks like 6 or so guys on top of the ram here. Andy taking a lot of damage from everybody. He manages to quickly heal up, go back around the corner. There's the breath to dot everybody up. The leap comes down. Andy trying to get that execute, not able to get the kill, and Andy tries to retreat back around the corner. He ends up dying, but a great fight nonetheless. For the last clip here, we've got a bonus fight brought to you guys by Akinos. This is a very interesting melee mag sword build. And if you want to see more of it, definitely check this man's channel out. Again, if you guys want to send in your own clips for the top 5, or if you want to see a build featured on the channel, you can send that to kristofereso@hotmail.com. You can check out my Twitch, my Twitter, catch me live, keep up to date with me, and of course, if you guys want to see written guides to my builds, you can find them on my website, kristofereso.com. This show is sponsored by What the Fast. They can give you better ping to your favorite games, free to try with the link down below. A massive thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon for supporting this stream. Thank you guys for sending those clips in. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope to see you guys next time, and have a great night, everyone.